What a beautiful day it is. And today we are working on a 2005 Chevy Impala. Need some brakes. This was a odd little thing to happen. One day, without warning, without squealers. Let's see if it'll focus on that. Here, let's try it from here. It just started grinding. So that is metal on metal. I don't know what happened. Like I said, there was no warning. It just went. So we got the car jacked up on jack stands. You need to take the this thing off so I can get this off and get it turned. The back does not feel good, and the front is not that great as well. So all you got to do to get this off is this bolt, and the other one you can see right there. Right there. Those two bolts. Caliper comes off, and take this off, it just comes straight off. This car also needs tie rod ends, which I'll be showing you in another video. You just take those two bolts off, the whole thing comes off, and here's that brake pad. It's not the worst I've seen, but I don't think there's a squealer on this to warn us. Oh look, it's right there. Well then why is it wearing so weird? Anyway, so that's off. You gotta collapse that down, and then of course we gotta take these out, clean up the inside, lube it all up real nice on each side, and then get this turned, and then put it all back together. Pretty easy, straightforward job. Let's do it. Pads on the passenger side don't look too bad at all. This isn't too bad, but if you replace pads on one side, you got to do it on both. So we are gonna do, ooh, nice brand. We are gonna do them both. Now we're back at the car after getting those rotors turned, and it has rained. Lovely day. Basically, we just got to clean stuff up and collapse the caliper, lube everything, and get it all back together. Simple stuff. All right, so to collapse this caliper right there, that round thing, back into the bore, you want to take one of the old brake pads, put it right back in place, just like that. Whoops. Well, we can take this off because we are going to clean those up and re-lube. I don't know what's on there, but we're going to re-lube them. They make a fancy tool for this. I don't have that fancy tool, of course, so we are using this. Works just as good. Would like to get that fancy tool one day, but this one's fine. Try to center pressure on the piston. You simply just screw it in and it should collapse. That looks like as far as we can get it. So that is collapsed. That wasn't too bad. Basically, these are the slide pins for the I don't know exactly what this thing's called, brake bracket or something like that. Anyway, so when this is bolted to the car, this moves back and forth. So when you hit those brakes, it's supposed to be able to move freely. And it's always a good idea, anytime you do the brakes, clean inside these holes with the brake cleaner, clean these off, re-lube them with anti-seize lubricant, and you can get this specifically for brakes. And then we're also gonna wire brush any mating surfaces, lube up any surfaces that touch the brake pads, like right here, right here. Then these clips, there's clips right here. They should come with your brake pads. If they don't come with your brake pads, you got two cheaper brake pads, return them and get different. But you got to clean this up. You don't have to lube in here, but when you put this on, lube in these where the brake pads touch. Just a little bit is fine. That's all you need. But yeah, now I'm gonna get this stuff all cleaned up. Make sure you wear a mask when you're doing this. This stuff is not good for you, as is 90% of things on a car anyway. Take a little bit of anti-seize, get it all in here. This just helps the rotor from sticking, getting rusty and sticking. Try not to get it on the threads though. We don't want this stuff on the threads. All right, got our mountain bolts cleaned up. You want to put just a drop of Loctite on there to help from just a drop to help vibrations and stuff. And the caliper mountain bracket bolts get torqued down to 122 foot-pounds per torque square, whatever thing, just like a lot. So you just want to get them snug first before you start torquing them down. Use the torque wrench as little as possible. It is not a ratchet, it's a torque wrench. And apparently they're really weak. Yeah, that's going just fine. I think tight. So how I like to do this is I'll start at like 100 to top then bottom bolt. Go to 110 top bottom, 122 top bottom, just to make sure everything's snugging down even. Alright, so one thing I do want to talk about on these torque specs of these bolts, I said 122. That is a number I got offline. I do not have a manual for this car, but I saw it in several different places, so I'm going to trust it. If you have a manual, then I would say definitely trust that, especially if you have a shop manual. Basically, I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a guy trying to save myself some money and my friends some money, you know, maybe help you guys save some money as well. And, well, basically, I'm kind of an idiot, and, like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I kind of don't, so don't really follow anything I say. You know, this is just for entertainment. Even though I'm not entertaining, I guess, but all right, let's pop these off. All right, there we go. That's off there. See that little red area? That's where the Loctite was. So I'm gonna just brush this with wire brush, spray it off, get it all cleaned up. Look at that, impossible restoration. I can't believe it runs. I think on the other side I'm gonna do this different. I think I'm gonna take this off with the mounting bracket off the car, take these out, Loctite them, put them in, then lube up the thing, then put it back in here. Because like it is now, I'm going to have to just lube in here and then put this through with the Loctite on it into there to avoid getting anti-seize in there. I think that's a much better plan. For some reason on this car, bottom one has this little plastic or metal, this little piece on it, and the top one definitely does not. This thing actually sits in a space carved out for it. I don't know why. Don't be alarmed if you don't see one on the top. All right, another perfect restoration. Can't believe it runs. Old clip, new shiny clip. Basically, you take this, that's upside down, put it in these little things, click it down in there, and then you're gonna put just a little bit of anti-seize right here and right here, and just a little bit right here, because this thing slides back and forth on that. Make sure not to get the anti-seize on the brake, on the rotor. And then we also want to anti-seize back here. Clip for the top. Anti-seize in the same spots. Old brake pads and new brake pads. Lots of difference. Also, don't get anything on the face of the brake pad. Keep that clean. To clean off the rotor. Brake pad number 1, scalar on the bottom. Brake pad number 2. Just like that. And this simply just folds down. Then we just, oh, I forgot to lube up that. So, unfold it. I'm gonna lube up inside there. All right, now we'll put this thing down. And, well, I gotta drop a Loctite on there. It's a bit much, but it's okay. I'll wipe a little bit of it off. Are these bolts? Get 26 PSI, whatever. And that side's all done. Let's go do the other. and this side has been the exact same as it was on the other side. The only difference is how I'm going to reassemble this. So I'm going to take these that have been restored to perfect condition, can't believe it still runs, and put these in first, Loctite the threads, put these in the holes. Then I'm gonna lube them up and then install this and then put the whole thing together. And make sure this piece goes in the bottom one. All right, now these are all cleaned out, and I'll just throw some lube down in there, and then when I go to put it on, I'll put some lube on here. It should be plenty. Old pads. And new pads. It's not an ideal way of putting pads in, but I don't know how to keep the Loctite and the lube anti-seize from mixing on those bolts. All right, there we go. New front brakes with everything cleaned and lubed. Just got to pop the tire back on, and the tire, the lug nuts get spec'd down to, or torqued down to 100 PS square inch I foot-pounds torque, and that's it. If you guys enjoy these videos, if they help you out, please subscribe. Leave a comment if you can. I love reading the comments. If you have any tips or tricks yourself, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I read them all. And thank you for joining me today. Have a good rest of your day.